and gentlemen, once again, as always, it's the one, it's the only, it's the motherfucking General Miguel Magallon. And as always, it's the president, the founder, the motherfucking CEO of Magallon Entertainment and the leader of the sports betting Mexican podcast. What up, what up, what up, what up, ladies and gentlemen, back at it again, the one and only motherfucking General. And tonight, I'm going to give you guys a recap of what I saw in week 13 of NFL football, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break down every single game, every single team, and what is going on in these division and conferences. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as always, when the General's about to teach you some shit, when the General's about to educate you on shit, and when the General's about to drop some knowledge in this bitch, get the pen and the pads and be prepared to listen. So, let's start off with that Thursday night's football game. We had the Seahawks at Cowboys. I'm going to be honest. I think the Seahawks are probably going to make the playoffs again. I think I said this last week and before the season started. Honestly, I think the Seahawks are probably going to make the playoffs, and they're probably going to have to go on the road to play the 49ers, and they're probably going to get blown out by the fucking 49ers. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, if I look at the standings right now, let's go ahead and look at the NFC real quick. And let's see, scrolling down, the Seahawks are currently in the 9th seed. Yeah, they are currently in the 9th seed. So they're currently out of the playoffs, but I'm going to be honest, I don't see Minnesota making it. I'm not really a fan of Minnesota. I feel like they're wasting everyone's time. Like, you know, they don't have Kirk Cousins. I get it, everyone's on Josh Dobbs' dick right now, but I don't know. He's not special to me. He's not nothing. To me, Josh Jobs, what is it? Josh Jobs? Or what the fuck is his name? Dobbs? Whatever. Dobbs, right now, to me, and this is just my opinion, he's this year's Geno Smith. A guy who's basically like a journeyman quarterback, you know, hopping around, bouncing from dick to dick, team to team, roster to roster, organization to organization. Nobody really wants him. Nobody really believes in him. Nobody really fucks with him like that. No one really likes him like that. And that's why they keep trading him around, you know, like that. You know, he's like an NFL quarterback thotty. Like everyone's just taking turns just tapping that ass. But no one wants to put a ring on him. No one wants to make him the franchise guy. Like, he's just, I don't know, they don't view him as that guy. They don't think he's that dude. They don't think he's built like that. So, I don't know what's going to happen to him in the offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if someone gives him a contract, because I do believe, and this is just my opinion, I think he's a top 20, top 25 quarterback. Like, I'm not going to say he's in my top 10 or top 15, but is he a top 20, top 25? Maybe. I think he's better than the QB in Atlanta. I think he's better than Baker Mayfield. Even though I do think the Bucs are going to end up winning the division. Fuck the Falcons. I don't like Atlanta. I don't like their QBs. I don't like their roster. I don't like anything other than their tight end. I think Pitts is going to end up being a really good tight end, but I think they're underusing him. But other than that, I don't really fuck with Atlanta. You know, they haven't been the same since they lost the Super Bowl, just being honest with you. So, yeah, I think the Bucs will still win the division, but that doesn't mean, you know, Baker Mayfield's special. I think Dobbs is better than Mayfield. I think Dobbs is better than Derek Carr. You know, I don't fuck with his ass. I think he a bitch too. I think he's better than Danny Dimes. I don't like Danny Dimes either. I think that whole offense is predicated more around Saquon Barkley, and I feel like they should have gave Saquon Barkley the money. I don't think Danny Dimes is elite, not by any stretch of the imagination. Justin Fields, you know, some people think that it's more about the team and the roster that sucks around him, but, you know, Justin Fields, he ain't done shit this year. I think Dobbs has had bigger victories and bigger wins this year than Justin Fields has, in my opinion. Washington, is Dobbs better than Sam Howell? Maybe. You know, Kyler Murray, I think he a bitch. I think he's been bitch made. He's going to win just enough games this year so he has job security and they don't draft, you know, Caleb Williams. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray. I said that ever since he came out of college. I think he was going to be a bust. I think he's too small, and I think he has a bitch ass attitude along with that fucking midget ass height of his. Not a fan of Kyler Murray. Don't think he's built like that. Don't think he's going to last long in this league. He should have went to play baseball. He only came to the NFL because they offered him more money. I don't think he really loves football like that. I think he loves playing Call of Duty more. That's just my opinion. And then you have the Panthers. I mean, Bryce Young. I mean, I don't know. Same thing. Does he suck, or is the roster just really bad around him? I don't know. Dobbs, to me, based on what he's accomplished this year, I mean, look at the AFC. You got fucking Pickett. I think he's a bust. Deshaun Watson, he looks like he's not built for this league no more. Looks like he's just playing for the money. You have the Colts, Richardson. I think he's a dumbass. I think like he's good at running with his legs, but he always dives in head first, and he doesn't know how to fucking slide. Again, I think he's a dumbass version of Cam Newton. He's a smaller version of Cam Newton, but same thing. He's not deadly accurate down the field, and most of the shit he does is just run around, and then instead of sliding like Russell Wilson used to, he wants to go in diving head first like Cam Newton used to. So again, just dumbass when it comes to running with the ball in his hand. He thinks he's a fucking running back or a fullback. Bro, slide and get the fuck down. But he don't want to listen, and that's why he's already missing half his rookie season with that shoulder injury, because he keeps wanting to dive head first into NFL linebackers like a dumbass. Shut the fuck up. Who else? Dobbs. I think Dobbs is probably better. Dobbs is for sure better than Mac Jones, and Dobbs is for sure better than Zach Wilson, and Dobbs might be just as good or probably on the same level as Will Levis out there, in Tennessee playing for the Titans right now. So yeah, out of 32 teams, I think Josh Dobbs is top 25, maybe top 20, right? You can make an argument. So we'll see what happens to him in the offseason, but yeah, I'm not super sold on Josh Dobbs. I think he's this year's Geno Smith. I think someone's going to give him a contract. At the very least, I think he's going to be a very highly paid backup quarterback, because there's a lot of teams right now who have a good quarterback, but they're always dealing with fucking like health issues. So if you're, the Cincinnati Bengals, or you're like the Miami Dolphins, because Tua with his head injuries. If you're the Saints right now, maybe you consider it. The Rams especially, because you never know what's going to happen, with Stafford's old ass. Yeah, there's a lot of good QBs out there, but a lot of them are always going down with injuries. And I think this year we've had the most amount of starting quarterbacks get injured in like the past 20 years. It's been a shit ton of injuries when it comes to starting quarterbacks. So, I think this year is going to be a reminder that it's important to have a competent backup quarterback. Look at Aaron Rodgers, you know what I mean? And Zach Wilson's situation. It's important to have a smart, capable backup quarterback. He doesn't have to be elite. Obviously, if he was elite, he'd be a starter somewhere. But you have to have someone who at least doesn't suck, Zach Wilson, or the fucking Patriots with fucking Zappy. Get the fuck out of here. Zap his ass off the roster. That's what I would do. So, yeah, I think Josh Dobbs is going to get I'm not saying he's going to get a massive contract, but I think he's going to get a huge contract, and he's probably going to be the highest backup quarterback in the league next year. And honestly, would it really surprise me if he was a starter next year? Not really. There could be some teams that if their quarterback goes down in the offseason or in training camp, they trade for Josh Dobbs and make him a starter, week one. Yeah, because there's quarterbacks that go down throughout the entire season. Quarterbacks that get hurt in the offseason, get hurt in training camps, OTAs, preseason. You see that shit all the time. So, yeah, you never know. I think he'd be an expensive backup quarterback, but I think, teams would do it. The Titans, the Colts, the Patriots, maybe the Lions, right? The Saints, the Falcons, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Steelers, the Commanders. There's a lot of teams. The Browns might look into it. The Rams might think about it. There is a lot of teams. The Bengals for sure are going to start thinking about good backup quarterbacks. The Jaguars, the Vikings. I mean, the list goes on. The Giants, the Bears, the Bills, even the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's not always healthy. So again, I think someone's going to give Josh Dobbs a huge chunk of money, because they're going to be worried about their starting quarterback's health issues. And he's probably going to be the highest backup paid quarterback in the league next year. Wouldn't surprise me. And it also wouldn't surprise me if someone trades for him or gets him in the offseason and makes him their starter if their starting quarterback goes down in the offseason. You know what I mean? So again, we'll see what ends up happening with him. I think he's a good, capable quarterback, but I don't think he's elite. I'm not putting him on that pedestal or on that level. So with that being said, Yeah, I don't think the Minnesota Vikings are going to hold on to that playoff spot. That's just me. I think they're going to shut down Justin Jefferson. I think they're going to reevaluate their offseason. They're going to look at Kirk Cousins and they're going to say, bro, you're old. You're fucking busted. You're washed. I don't even know if you could say he was washed because he's never elite. So Kirk Cousins, to me, he's kind of just like average at best. So again, I think Minnesota's one of those teams that's probably going to look to draft a young rookie quarterback during the offseason. And maybe they keep Kirk Cousins around to kind of be like a mentor and mentor him. Because Kirk Cousins is a good guy. He's a professional. He doesn't do any stupid shit in the offseason. He's not out here committing felonies or domestic violence or raping people or, going 140 miles an hour on the freeway. He's not getting arrested for marijuana, doesn't get arrested for domestic violence, doesn't get arrested for DUIs, doesn't get arrested for stupid shit. And you look around the league, there's a lot of players who get, they be getting arrested for just dumb shit, beating up their girlfriends, punching their wife, not paying child support. I mean, there's dudes out here in the league. They be pulling off some shenanigans, man. They be on some dumb shit, stupid shit, what the fuck shit. Like, bro, what are you doing right now? So, I would say that Kirk Cousins, even though he's a mediocre to average quarterback, he is a professional. You know what I mean? He's a married man. He's a good man. He's a faithful man. He's not out here like fucking John Bones Jones fucking hookers every night in Vegas. Like, he does everything by the book. He just, it's not that he sucks. It's just that he's not really that good. He's not great. He's not elite. He's just average. The problem with Kirk Cousins is that his agent wants him to get paid like he's fucking like he's Patrick Mahomes or he's Joe Burrow. And it's like, bro, get the fuck out of here with that. You're a good quarterback. I would say maybe at times you're really good, but the only times you're really good, Kirk Cousins, is when you have a really, 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 really good, great roster around you. But it's hard to do that and put you in a team with a good roster around you when you're out here demanding max money like you're fucking Aaron Rodgers in his prime. Get the fuck out of here. So, yeah, I'm not going to fuck with all that. So I think that's Kirk Cousins' biggest problem, and that's why he won't win a Super Bowl in his career. It's not that he's not good enough. It's that his agent and him want him to get paid like he's literally fucking Joe Montana or somebody. You're not Tom Brady, bro. You're not a GOAT. You're not elite. You're not top 5. You're not top 10. But the problem is you want to get paid like you are top 5, top 10, like you are elite, like you are fucking Hall of Famer. It's like, bro, come on. You're asking for too much money given your fucking game. And then when he gets that money, all of a sudden you have to strip away all those good players around him. And all of a sudden you give him a shitty offensive line with a bad run game and an average defense and a dumbass as a head coach. And guess what? Now he gets exposed. He's not a guy that can carry a team and put them over a top. He's a guy that can manage a team if everyone's good around him and do what he has to do to not fuck it up. He's good enough to not fuck it up, but he's not good enough to take you over the top. Does that make sense? So I think they're going to replace him in the offseason. Maybe not replace. I could see them keeping him in the offseason just to like mentor the young quarterback. So maybe he does get to start again next season, and maybe they bench the rookie quarterback so he can have the whole year to learn his rookie season. Maybe they do some shit like that. But we'll see what happens with Dobbs. Either way, I don't see Minnesota holding on to that 6th spot. So I think the Packers are going to get in. I think the Rams might get in, and then after that, we'll see. The Seahawks, man, they're on the fringe, man. They're on the fringe. And I think they're going to lose next week against the 49ers. I think 49ers are going to stomp that ass. But I think the Seahawks are still going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to get that last and final seed. I think Minnesota's going to fall out. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers fall out too. I know they just had a big win against Kansas City. But let's take a look at their schedule real quick. Let's see. Green Bay Packers 6-6, just beat the Chiefs, so now they're on that all-time high. After that, they got to play the Giants. They're probably going to win that. They got to play the Bucks. That one's probably 50-50. But then they play the Panthers. They're probably going to win that. And then they're going to play the Vikings. That's 50-50. And then that last game at the end of the year versus Justin Fields at home. Ooh, Packers at home against the Bears. That's a tough one. That's probably going to be the must-win. Because I have them going probably 2-2 or 3-1. I think they beat the Panthers and the Giants for sure. But those games against the Vikings and the Bucks, those are each 50-50. They're at home against the Bucks, but they're on the road against the Vikings. Man, they can go 2-2 or maybe 3-1. I don't think they're going to do the sweep. And so I think their season comes down to the last game of the year, which is on Jan 7 against the Chicago Bears. And we'll see what ends up happening with that. But ultimately surprise me if they just barely miss the playoffs and if the Seahawks just make it in the playoffs. And again, I think the Seahawks will make the playoffs. I think they're going to get the last seed, and I think they're going to get their ass fucking whooped out there in San Francisco back-to-back years against 49ers. Meanwhile, you look at the Seahawks, they're going to lose against the 49ers, they're going to lose against the Eagles, but then after that, I think they're going to beat the Tennessee Titans on the road. I think they're going to beat the Steelers at home, especially now that they're on their second string quarterback. And then they finish the year against Arizona, which is an easy win because at that point, Kyler Murray probably has enough job security, but at the same time, they still want a high draft pick for the draft. So you look at that, the Steelers, end of the year, but it's at home, backup QB. I could see them beating the Steelers at home against the backup QB. And I think they're going to go on the road and beat the Titans. And so, I think, because the Titans are probably going to be looking at draft picks at that point, too. So, again, I think they're going to lose their next 2 games against San Fran and against Philly, but I think they're going to close the year out on a 4-game winning streak. 3-game winning streak. I think they'll beat the Titans, they'll beat the Steelers, and they will beat the Arizona Cardinals. So, to me, I have them going 9-8, and I think they might be able to make that 7th. It might be enough, 9-8, to get that 7th seed and make the playoffs in the NFC, going 9-8. But it's going to be tough, America, because I think the Green Bay Packers, they're probably going to have a very similar record. But to me, if you ask me, I think the Seahawks will make it, and I think the Packers are going to fall out. I think the Packers and the Vikings are going to fall out. I think the Seahawks are going to get in at 9-8. And unfortunately for them, that means they're going to have the 7th seed, which means they're either going to have to go on the road to Philly, on the road to San Francisco, or on the road to the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be one of those 3 teams. It's either going to be Philly, San Francisco, or Dallas. Or Seattle might have to go back on the road against Detroit. That might be a rematch of earlier this year. I don't know if you guys remember, but Detroit had a game earlier this year against the Seattle Seahawks, and they lost against Seattle Seahawks at home. And that was after the week 1 opener where they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And everyone's like, oh, man, this team's for real. Jared Goff, the defense, the run game, the head coach, the roster. OMG, Detroit's for real. These aren't the same old fucking Lions, new and improved, all this other bullshit. And everyone's putting Jared Goff on a fucking pedestal at that point because they beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road without Travis Kelce and without fucking their big guy, the one on defense. I forgot his name. But yeah, so I mean, whatever. But then after that, again, everyone on ESPN and Fox was over here sucking their dick, talking about how good they are, and you know what I mean? Super Bowl this. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Overrated. But that's just me. But again, Seahawks, that could be an interesting matchup. Seahawks on the road against Detroit, opening week, wild card division. Ooh, that might be interesting. Payback for Detroit, who knows? Or maybe Seahawks run it back and fucking whoop that ass one more time. If they do, and they beat Detroit on the road, then they're definitely going to have to go on the road against either Philly, San Fran, or Dallas. You know what I mean? So that could be interesting, America. Could be interesting. So yeah. I think either way, Seattle's going to make the playoffs, and it's going to be a rematch of somebody because they already played San Fran. They're in the same division. They played the Cowboys, got their ass whooped. I forgot. I don't know if that game was on Thanksgiving or no, that was right after Thanksgiving. Seattle went into Dallas, and Dallas just fucking murdered them. They're going to play Philly in about 2 weeks. They play San Francisco next. They're going to lose back to back. And they went on the road and beat Detroit Lions. So yeah, it's gonna be a rematch. They're gonna fucking run that fade back with somebody. Philly, San Fran, Detroit, or fucking Cowboys. And then if they win, they're gonna go the next week in the divisional round, and there's gonna be another team that they're gonna have to, run that fade back with again. So it'll be interesting. Seattle probably has 0% chance of winning the Super Bowl, but man, it'll be entertaining TV. I tell you that much. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts right there. In terms of Seattle, I think the only team they can beat if they get the 7th seed, the only team they could beat wild card week would be the Lions. I give them 0% chance of beating the Eagles or the Cowboys or the 49ers. I think their defenses are too good. But with the Lions, like I said, they already beat them on the road, the second week. So maybe they can do it again. Maybe they can't. We'll find out. But should be entertaining TV to say the least. And then what else happened? Yeah, so the Seahawks, they just got their ass whooped by the Cowboys. It wasn't that bad. It was 41-35. It was a lot of penalties, though, honestly. So I don't know. Maybe if the Seahawks have to run that back and play the Cowboys in the first round, maybe they end up getting the upset. Who fucking knows, you know? You never know with the Cowboys. Fucking Dak Prescott and his fucking INTs every postseason. We'll fucking see. Speaking of the Cowboys, I'm looking at the Cowboys now. It was a good win on Thursday night, but honestly, I think they got lucky with the referees. I am going to be excited to see what happens this week. Cowboys versus Philly. I think the Cowboys are going to win it. I think they're going to take it. I think them having the extra 3 days off because they played on Thursday is going to help them. And I think them watching San Francisco run the ball on them and just fucking rape their ass on the field, I think that's probably going to, remind them like how you can beat Philly. Because I'm not saying Philly got exposed, but they got exposed. So I'm wondering if Dak Prescott and, their dumbass as a head coach, Mike McCarthy, learned anything from that. But it should be interesting to see. I have the Cowboys winning this weekend. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm not going to put a large sum of money on it. It's not going to be a big bet for me, but I am looking for the Cowboys to beat Philly. I'm probably going to come out with my plays tomorrow, so be on standby, America. But yeah, I am looking at that Cowboys game, and I do think they're going to beat Philly next week. But either way, I give them 0% chance to win the Super Bowl, and it's not just because of Dak Prescott. I think it's just because it's such a huge loss to not have Stephon Diggs. And if you watch that Seattle game, DJ Metcalf was going off because their secondary without Trayvon Diggs is fucking trash. And I feel like it's getting exposed more and more every single game. Now, I'm not sure if Philly's going to be able to capitalize on that, but I think in the postseason, teams are going to look at the fact that they don't have Trayvon Diggs and that their backup, corners and safeties aren't really that special. It's more about their front seven than it is their back end. And I think Cowboys are going down in the postseason. I also give them 0% chance to win the Super Bowl. I think they might win one game in the playoffs, maybe two, but I don't see them taking it all the way. I think in the postseason, they're going to lose to either the 49ers or to Philly. But for this week specifically, I think they'll be able to beat Philly just this week. But in the postseason, I don't think they're going to have what it takes. That's just me. All right, moving on to Sunday football. So we had the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. I don't really care about that game. That was a stay away game for me. Again, the Colts, no one really cares. Titans, no one really super cares. I think both teams are already looking towards the draft. I told you guys the Titans should already replace Ryan Tannehill and look to draft a new QB in the draft. But some people are saying Will Levis could be that QB, and what they need is a better offensive lineman or another wide receiver for Will Levis to throw to. If they think Will Levis is that dude, we'll see. Either that or they're going to draft a new QB. With the Colts, I think what the Colts need is probably, I think with the first round pick, I think the Colts are probably going to look for someone on defense or another wide receiver for Richardson to throw to. We'll see. So I think it's going to be a wide receiver, maybe a tight end, a blocking tight end. That would be good for Richardson because he's always running with his feet anyways. So I would look for a good slant wide receiver, deep threat for him to throw to, or a blocking tight end. Or at the very least, load up the defense because their defense has been trash this season. So we'll see. Next up, Chargers, Patriots, another stay away game for me. Patriots are unequivocally going to draft a new quarterback with their second pick of the draft. I think they're going to get the number 2 pick. And let's look at the Patriots schedule for the rest of the season. They're probably going to lose every game the rest of the season. What do we got? We got, I think they're playing the Steelers on Thursday Night Football. I'm going to give you guys a teaser tomorrow. I do have a play on that game. I have a teaser for you guys tomorrow. I do have a play on that game. After that, they're coming home and they play the Kansas City Chiefs. They're probably going to lose that. Then they got to go on the road to beat the Denver Broncos. They're definitely losing that. And then at the end of the year, they got to go to Buffalo. They're no question losing that. And then they come back home to play the Jets, and, we'll see if the Jets even want to win that game. I don't think the Jets care about that game anymore, but at the same time, Bill Belichick probably wants that second overall pick because he needs to get himself a new QB. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Patriots lose every game for the rest of the season and just lock in that number 2 overall pick in the draft. And then you have the Chargers. I'm just waiting for them to fire their head coach. He's a fucking dumbass. Are the Chargers even scheduled to make the postseason? Let's take a look one more time. Chargers in the AFC. We know they're not going to win the division. And the Chargers are currently 5-7. Yeah, they're not going to make it. I'm just waiting for them to fire their coach in the offseason. All right, moving on. That was also a stay away game for me because that's just two bad teams right now. Lions at Saints. I picked the Lions to win this game, but I didn't have a play on this game because I stay away from Derek Carr games because all he does is fuck me because he's a little bitch like that. But the Lions ended up pulling it off. It was a tight contested game. And then what happens? What always happens. Derek Carr goes down with an injury. The team ends up losing. And they say, oh, don't worry. We're going to bring him back next year. And things are going to be different. Things are going to be great. Derek Carr just has to stay healthy. He's a good guy. It's not his fault. He's that dude. Get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, Lions won that. I don't think the Lions are going to get the number 1 seed. But I do think the Lions are going to get probably the number 2 or the number 3 seed. I would be very interested to see if the Lions end up doing a rematch with the Seahawks in the wild card seed. So we'll see what happens with that. Right now they're locked into the number 3 seed. Again, we'll see what happens with that. But I think the Lions are either going to play the Vikings in the first round, the Packers in the first round, the Rams in the first round, or the Seahawks in the first round. I hope it's the Seahawks. That would be interesting. Although it would be interesting to see, imagine the Rams getting the 7th seed or the 6th seed or whatever, and they have to play the Lions. Man, Matthew Stafford going into his old stomping grounds, Jared Goff going against his old team. Ooh, that would be nice. Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. That is a fucking good one, America. It's either the Seahawks in a rematch against the Lions, or it's the Rams going on the road to play Detroit in the fucking wild card round. Man, Matthew Stafford versus his old team, Jared Goff versus his old team. Ooh, that's a good one, man. I don't know who would win that. I would probably go with the Rams, just because McVay has more experience with Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford didn't really play that much with the, I forgot the coach's name, the head coach for the Lions. I don't think he really was coaching Matthew Stafford for that long. So he probably doesn't know that many secrets about him. But Matthew Stafford's a really good quarterback. I don't think he has that many flaws. He's a Super Bowl champion for a reason. It's just more about if you could put a good roster around him. But I would love to see that. Imagine that, Rams going at Detroit. Sheesh, that'd be really cool. But I would also like to see the rematch, Seahawks at Detroit. That shit would be fucking nice. So we'll see what ends up happening. Detroit, man, I'm telling you, I would put them on upset alert for the first round, wild card. It would not surprise me if someone upsets that ass. I think the Rams can take them on the road, and I think the Seahawks can take them on the road. It wouldn't necessarily be a shocker to me. So anyways, next game, what do we have? Falcons at Jets. Nobody cares. Aaron Rodgers out here talking about, hey, don't be surprised if I come back. Bro, sit the fuck down somewhere. And then the Falcons, they're just fucking trash. They need a new QB in the offseason. The Jets are probably just going to get a wide receiver in the first round or an offensive lineman. But I would prefer for them to get a wide receiver, the best wide receiver in college football. So that way when Aaron Rodgers does come back, he actually has fucking someone to throw to and not just one fucking guy. All right, next. Cardinals Steelers. I wish the Cardinals would just cut Kyler Murray and his bitch ass, but they already gave him a max contract like a titiri. So they're kind of stuck with Kyler Murray, so I don't really even know what to do with him. Meanwhile, Steelers, honestly, they're one quarterback away. I hope the Steelers, this is the deepest quarterback draft in NFL history in the past 15, 20 years. I hope if they end up getting like a 15th pick in the draft, that there's still a really good quarterback that could fall to them. We'll see who they end up drafting, but I hope it's a new quarterback because fuck Kenny Pickett. That kid sucks. Next up, Dolphins at the Commanders. I'll start with the Commanders. Again, I'm telling you guys, they're going to fire Ron Rivera in the offseason. I've been saying it for weeks, and then they're going to promote Eric Bieniemy as the head coach, and then, which is probably the guy they wanted anyways. And then Eric Bieniemy is going to be the head coach, and then he's going to have to decide, what he wants to do with Sam Howell, if he's really that dude, or if he drafts a new quarterback in the offseason. I think Sam Howell actually runs the Commanders' offense, pretty good. I just feel like he needs more weapons to throw to. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But yeah, I'd be excited to see what Bieniemy does with the roster if he was the man in charge, but we'll see. Other than that, the Dolphins. Let me see. Do the Dolphins have the number one spot? I think they do. I'm just gonna say this now, and some of you guys aren't gonna agree with me, but I'm just gonna tell you guys my opinion, and I'm gonna say this shit with my chest. I think Tua is overrated. I think it's 99% to do with Tyreek Hill, 1% to do with Tua, and the other 0.5 to do with his head coach. I think Miami is overrated. I think they fucking suck. I can't believe the number one seed. They literally lose to every good team they play, and they beat all the bad teams. Look at their schedule. They beat the Chargers. They suck. They beat the Patriots. They suck. They dropped 70 on Denver. They suck. Although, I would say Denver sucked in the first half of the season, and now they're getting better in the second half of the season. That's probably more to do with Sean Payton than it is Russell Wilson, but Sean Payton's getting this thing around. They went 1-5, and then they won 5 games in a row. They're trying to turn it around. So they beat Denver Nuggets in the first half of the season when they fucking sucked and dropped 70. Then they lose to the Buffalo Bills, even though the Buffalo Bills are starting to suck now, but whatever. They beat the Giants, they beat the Panthers. Wow, they beat fucking Danny Jones, and they beat fucking Bryce Young. Whoa, they beat Mac Jones and the Patriots. Whoa, they beat the fucking Chargers. Whoa, right? But then they got their ass fucking blown out by Philly 31-17. Then they come back and they beat the Patriots and Mac Jones. Whoa, and then they get their ass handed to them in London by fucking Kansas City. Then they come back home, they beat the Raiders on a bye after a bye week. No big deal. They beat Zach Wilson and the Jets. Whoa. They beat the fucking Washington Commanders. Whoa. Super whoa. Next up on their schedule, they're going to beat the Tennessee Titans at home. Then after that, they're going to beat the Jets at home again. Then after that, they're probably going to get blown out by the Cowboys at home. That's just my opinion, which is why I don't think they're going to keep the number one seed. That's just my opinion. Then they got to go on the road to face the Ravens. I think the Ravens, that's actually an interesting one. I think they can beat the Ravens. I think they can beat the Ravens on the road because that secondary is trash. And then they finish the year against Buffalo at home, and I think they're going to lose against Buffalo at home. Even though Buffalo's not going to make the playoffs, in my opinion, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to go into Miami to end the season, and they're going to give them one final fuck you to end it all. Because I don't think the Buffalo Bills like the fucking Dolphins. I don't think they stand the Dolphins. I think they hate the Dolphins. I think they say fuck the Dolphins, and I think they're going to finish out their season strong and beat the fucking Dolphins. So I think the Dolphins, I think they can beat the Ravens on the road because their secondary is trash, but I do think they're going to get blown out by Dallas, and I think they're going to get beat down by Buffalo one more time to close out the year, which is going to give them 2 more losses. I have them going 15-2. I don't think they're going to keep the number one seed, but we'll see. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But if they do, I think they're a fake number one seed. I think they're overrated. I think they're losing to all the good teams. The only good team they can beat, in my opinion, is the Ravens. But that's because I don't believe in the Ravens' defense that much, in my opinion. But other than that, I just don't think they're a good team. I don't think they're elite. They put up a lot of points, but when they put up a lot of points against bad teams. But when they play the good teams like Kansas City, like Philly, like even fucking Buffalo when they were in their prime, they can't score more than 14 points. Tua's not that dude. Tua's not that guy. He's overrated. I think he fucking sucks with Tyreek. It's all about Tyreek. But if you can figure out a way to neutralize him the way Kansas City did out there in London, then guess what? Tua, he doesn't have anyone else to throw to, and all he does is throw picks, and all he does is fumble. All he does is suck. All he does is turnover, and all he does is fucking lose. Overrated. So to me, fuck the Dolphins. Fuck Miami. You know what I mean? The only thing they are to me is a fucking bust and a nut to me. That's it. You know what I mean? They ain't nothing but a thotty. That's their whole fucking city. Fuck the Dolphins. All right. Next up. By the way, just checking the standings real quick one more time. The Dolphins, if they get the 1 seed, they would get the bye week. But I think they're going to lose their first playoff game no matter what. I don't care if it's against Baltimore. Well, no, the only team they can beat is Baltimore. But if they have to play Kansas City in the first round, I think Kansas City is going to take them. But then it's tough. Cleveland and Pittsburgh, those are 50-50. I'd probably take Cleveland or Pittsburgh, because of their defense. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I would like to see though? Honestly, you know what I would really, really, really like to see? I would like to see Denver somehow clinch the 7th seed, Houston get the 6th seed, and I want to see Houston have to go and Oh man, this is tough for me. This is tough. Because Houston actually doesn't have to go on the road. Houston can still win this division, especially with that injury to Trevor Lawrence. So Jags are 8-4, Houston 7-5. There's only a 1 game difference. But with no Trevor Lawrence, Houston could end up winning this division. Fuck the Colts. You know how I feel about that team. So Houston might win the division. So I don't know. Now that I think about it, I would like to see the Jags fall off without Trevor Lawrence. Because honestly, does anyone really want to watch the Jags in the postseason without him? That's fucking boring. So I would love to see the Denver Broncos make the playoffs as the 7th seed. And I would love to see them have to go on the road against Miami as a potential 2 seed if, KC or Baltimore are able to clinch the 1. I would love to see Miami and Broncos go back at it again and run that shit back. Kind of like I said, Seattle with the Lions. I would like to see Denver go at Miami again and run that shit back in the postseason. And I would like to see what they do because this is a new and improved Denver Broncos team. So we'll see. I would actually back the Broncos in that situation because I feel like that's just a game of pride. It doesn't even like the players wouldn't even care about just making the playoffs or getting to the second round. Like you got to put your heart and soul into that game. The way they fucking embarrassed you on national TV. So we'll see. All right, so that's enough of that. But I hope the Broncos do make the playoffs. I would back them against Miami because I feel like at that point, that's just about being a man. You can't let these motherfuckers drop 70 on your head and just fucking be clowning you and making fun of you. Like, you got to stand the fuck up there. So I would love to see that. I would love to see a rematch there. 2 rematches I want to see in the postseason. I want to see Seattle go against Detroit one more time, although I wouldn't be mad if it was Matthew Stafford versus Detroit and Jared Goff. That would be interesting, Rams at Lions. And then the other one is I would love to see the Broncos have to take on Miami. That would be interesting. By the way, Broncos just lost to the Texans. Texans are another team. I think the Texans can win the division. Maybe, maybe not. But you want to know what I want to see? I want to see the Texans have to go on the road against Baltimore, a rematch of week 1, the rematch of opening week. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Houston Texans. I remember because I had money on that game and I was betting on the Houston Texans to lose that game because CJ Stroud's a rookie QB and they said his offensive line is trash. And, they've gotten a lot better, obviously. But they lost to the Baltimore Ravens on the road in Baltimore 25-9. But that was his first game as a rookie QB. Now, CJ Stroud, like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about him potentially being MVP. You got to be kidding me. So, the way I look at it right now, I would love, love, love to see Denver have to go on the road in a rematch against Miami. And I would love to see CJ Stroud and the Texans have to go on the road against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore in a rematch of opening week. I would love to get Seattle on the road against the Lions, a rematch of the second week. But I wouldn't be mad at Rams at Detroit. That shit would be amazing to me. So there's a lot of potential rematches we can see in the postseason that I would fucking love to see. And I would bet on at least all of these teams, if not one of them, getting revenge. So I like the Texans. I would back the Texans on the road in Baltimore. I would back the Broncos on the road in Miami. And I would back both or either the Seahawks or the Rams on the road against the Lions. That's just me. All right, next up, Panthers. Panthers, their life sucks. I mean, they don't have their first overall pick. They gave it to Chicago. Chicago's going to get Caleb Williams. So that sucks for the Panthers. But no one really cares. No one feels bad for them. If Bill Belichick gets fired from New England, I think the Panthers are going to hire him. But now apparently David Tepper wants an offensive, mind. So I don't know. We'll see who they end up fucking drafting or hiring. But the Buccaneers, interesting. Baker Mayfield. This is another rematch I see happening. I think the Bucs are going to end up winning the division. I think Atlanta sucks, and I think Derek Carr is a bitch, and the Panthers, are giving up the one seed, the 1 pick. So to me, I think the Bucs are going to win this division, and I think the Bucs are going to get the 4 seed because they win the division. I think Dallas Cowboys are going to get the 5 seed, just like they did last year or the year before. And you guys remember Tom Brady's last year in the NFL, where he still technically made the playoffs, and his last game ever was as the 4 seed for the Buccaneers, and they played Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, and everyone said, oh, Tom Brady's never lost against the Cowboys. And what was the last thing he did in his NFL career? He lost against the fucking Cowboys, and the Cowboys beat him on the road in Tampa Bay, and then after that, Cowboys went on the road to San Francisco, and we all know, what happened with that shit. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's a rematch of last year's playoffs. If the Buccaneers have a home game as the 4 seed and have to play the fucking Cowboys, the 5th seed, one more time, like that shit would be hilarious. So we'll see what happens with that shit. But it could be the Eagles having to go on the road. It's either the Bucks are going to win the division, and they're either going to have to play the Philadelphia Eagles or they're going to have to play the Dallas Cowboys. I think they lose to either of those teams. I think they played both teams actually. Let me check real quick. I thought the Bucks already played the Eagles. Let me check real quick. Yeah, they lost 25-11. Yeah. So if the Bucks end up having to play the Eagles, they're going to lose that game. If the Bucks play the Cowboys, they're going to lose that game. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. Nobody does. So, yeah, Bucks will make the playoffs as the 4 seed, and then they're going to get stomped out by the Bucks or the Cowboys. Doesn't really matter. That's an easy win to me. Easy victory. Next up, Browns at Rams. I think the Rams are going to make the playoffs. I want to see them play the Lions in the first round. That shit would be amazing to me. Either that or they're going to have to play the 49ers in the first round. That's also going to be amazing to me. The Rams are a really hard, tough matchup for the Rams, for the Lions, the Rams are a tough matchup for the Niners, the Lions, the Seahawks. They play these games tight. Even though they lose, they don't really get blown out. When the Rams play the 49ers, it's a close game. When the Rams play the Lions, it's a close game. When the Rams play the fucking Seahawks, it's a close game. So, you know what I mean? Like, they'll probably lose, but they're not going to get blown out. So, hopefully the Rams make the postseason. And then you have the Browns. The Browns, to me, are interesting. I wouldn't be necessarily shocked if they made the postseason, but I don't think nobody wants to see them in the postseason because they're boring and their quarterback sucks, and nobody really likes Deshaun Watson anymore. They're kind of over him right now. So, oh well, sucks to be a Brown. Next, 49ers at Philly. Great game. I had money on Niners. That was the one game I did have money on. I took 49ers on the money line. Yay, yay. Congratulations for everyone who fucking bet with me. And we really like the 49ers in this situation. We think they're the best team in football. I think they're the best team in the NFL. And I think they're going to probably end up winning the Super Bowl. If not, I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. So they're either going to the Super Bowl to lose or they're going to the Super Bowl to win. But I think they're going to the Super Bowl no matter what. It just depends who they play. I would love fucking love for the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl and play the Kansas City Chiefs and get the rematch that they always wanted and beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the motherfucking Super Bowl. That's probably going to be, so far, my dark horse Super Bowl prediction. 49ers, Chiefs. So, let's see. What else we got? But yeah, I think the 49ers will get to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if they're going to get the 1 seed. I hope they do. I think they do. Yeah. So I want to see 49ers get the number 1 seed. Hopefully they do. I'm probably going to bet them. My only bet that I really lean hard right now, that I really love, is the 49ers to beat the Seahawks this weekend. That's kind of like my main bet I'm looking at. 49ers to beat the Seahawks this weekend on the money line. It's minus 500, but it's easy money, and it's the only one I feel really good about. So that's kind of like my early lean for my favorite and biggest and massive bet of the week. 49ers to beat the Seahawks this weekend on the money line, minus 500. I know it's a lot, but it's easy money. It's free. So anyways, though, yeah, and then Eagles. Wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles get the 5 seed and have to play the Bucks on the road. If they do, they're going to blow them out. If the Eagles end up getting the number 2 seed, then who would they play? If the Eagles get the number 2 seed, I think they would have to play the number 7 seed. If the Eagles lock in the 2 seed and 49ers get the 1 seed, then if Philly gets the 2 seed, then I think the 7 seed is going to be either the Seahawks or the Rams or the Packers or the Vikings. Nobody gives a shit. But I don't think they can get the 2 seed, because if they lose to the Cowboys this weekend, they automatically go down to the 5 seed, because then the Cowboys, the Cowboys would own the tiebreaker, not based off the head-to-head, but because they have a better record in the conference or the division or some shit like that. Long story short, if the Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, which I think they will, that's probably the second bet I have of the week. Number 1, 49ers to beat the Seahawks. My second favorite bet of the week is the Cowboys to beat Philly this weekend. If the Cowboys beat Philly, Cowboys end up, winning the division, taking the division, which means Philly can't get the number 2 seed. They're either going to be the number 1 seed or they're going to be the number 5 seed. I think they're going to get the number 5 seed, and I think they're going to have to go on the road and beat the Buccaneers. If they keep the number 1 seed, then they get the bye week, and then they probably have an easy path to the NFC Championship game. Because if they get the number 1 seed, then Cowboys are probably going to have to go on the road to play the 49ers. They're going to lose to the 49ers. And then once again, 49ers are going to have to take on Philly in a rematch of the NFC Championship last year. But I don't think that's how it's going to play out. I think Cowboys are going to beat Philly this weekend, and I think Philly's going to have to go on the road to play the Buccaneers. And then after that, I think Philly's going to have to go on the road again to play the Cowboys. And you're going to get Philly Cowboys in the postseason divisional round. And then the winner of that game will play San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. So I think that's how that one's going to play out. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to maintain the number 1 seed. If they do, then it's basically going to be the same as last year. Cowboys lose to 49ers. And then after that, it would be 49ers beat Philadelphia one more time in the NFC Championship game. So we'll see how it all goes down, guys. But yeah, I think Philly's going to get the 5 seed. I think 49ers get the 1 seed, and I think Cowboys get the 2 seed. And then it'll be Philly takes on Bucks, beat the Bucks, and then Philly has to go on the road to play the Cowboys on the road in the postseason. And then the winner of Philly Cowboys have to play the fucking 49ers in San Francisco. 49ers are going to take it, go to the Super Bowl, and hopefully play Patrick Mahomes, and then get the rematch they always wanted, beat Patrick Mahomes, and finally, raise the Lombardi trophy and laugh at Jimmy Garoppolo's bitch ass because he couldn't get it done. All right. So that's my opinion on that. So number 1 lean of the week is 49ers money line against the Seahawks minus 500. I know it's a lot, but it's easy money. It's free money. It's basically guaranteed if you ask me. I am leaning on the Cowboys to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. That's probably my second favorite bet of the week. And then my third one is I like the Denver Broncos to beat the Chargers. Because, again, I can't wait for them to fire their head coach because he's a dumbass. And I think the Broncos are coming on strong in the second half of the season. I want to see the Broncos have to play Miami again in the postseason and get the rematch that I think they desperately want to fucking vindicate that embarrassing, pathetic-ass loss, 70-20 to the Dolphins on the road. And I think Tua's fucking garbage. I think it's all about Tyreek Hill. All right. With that being said, last 2 games that we saw this week, Chiefs at Packers. I don't really care. I think people have been giving Mahomes a lot of shit throughout his career because he's never had to play a road playoff game. And wouldn't it be hilarious where Patrick Mahomes not only doesn't get the number 1 seed, but Patrick Mahomes gets like the number 5, 6, or 7 seed, and he has to win on the road every single game this postseason, and he does exactly that. Like, I want Patrick Mahomes. Well, the thing is, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to win the division, but I would love to see him win the division, but have to go on the road for the AFC Championship. Whether it's at Baltimore or in Miami, it doesn't even matter. I just want the Kansas City Chiefs to have to go on the road for once, so that way Patrick Mahomes can say, look, you know what I mean? I know what it takes to win on the road. Not all my games in the playoffs in the postseason are in Kansas City. And I think he's going to win his games on the road. And I think he's going to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the 49ers. And then you have the Packers. They lost to the Packers. Not really a big deal. That's just more about the refs missed that fucking, defensive penalty that everyone said was obvious. So I had money on that. I lost. I was frustrated. Bad referees, bad luck. It is what it is. It fucking sucks. Packers won, but the Packers aren't making the postseason. Nobody wants to see Jordan Love. He's fucking trash. Next up, Bengals at Jaguars. I had Jaguars on that teaser. I had Chiefs +1 and Jaguars -2.5. Go figure, Trevor Lawrence goes down. So the whole teaser lost. It's not like one part lost. Both parts lost. Because Kansas City Chiefs got fucked by the referees and Trevor Lawrence went down. So, yeah, the Chiefs +1 and the Jags -2.5, they both lost. So it doesn't really matter. But, yeah, I think Jaguars are done. It just depends on that Trevor Lawrence injury. But if he's injured and he's not going to come back for 2 or 3 weeks, then Houston Texans are going to win this division and Jaguars are going to miss out. And it sucks. It is what it is, but they're going to miss out. Meanwhile, Bengals, nobody even cares. No Joe Burrow. No one even cares. I mean, yeah, they have a good backup quarterback. Ooh, who gives a shit? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is my recap of the NFL Week 13. These are my early NFL predictions, my early postseason predictions, my hopes and dreams where I want to see some rematches in the postseason. And we'll see if they end up coming to fruition. And we'll see. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you guys. That's kind of like my base case expectations over the last 3-4 weeks of NFL football. I'm excited for the postseason. I'm excited to make some money in the postseason. I'm excited to lay down some of these future bets. And I'm really, really excited for some postseason motherfucking parlays. And I'm even going to lay down some teasers. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys next time, probably tomorrow. I'll come out with my Week 14 NFL picks, and I'll let you guys know what I'm doing. Other than that, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope everyone's being successful. I hope you guys are making profits. I hope you guys are making money. And I hope you guys are enjoying this rally in Bitcoin. Because if there's two things I fucking love in this world, it's smacking the motherfucking sports book and cashing a fucking profit in motherfucking crypto. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin's going higher, our portfolio's going higher, and so is the motherfucking bankroll.